Hello, welcome to Westfield Church Good Friday workshop. It's a bit of a strange one, this one, but this would have been our 32nd year, so we weren't going to let the coronavirus stop us. Those of you that have been, and probably your parents have been before you, because we've been going for so long, know what we do. We do activities, don't we? There's all sorts of things that we do. We make a banner to go across the front of the altar in church. I'm afraid we can't do that. We make bread. Perhaps you could do that at home. If you can't make bread, perhaps you could make cakes. We do all sorts of crafts that we can't do here. We do make an Easter garden. So I've made an Easter garden to show you. I found an old plate and I've put soil on the top, and then I've put some moss on that I found in the garden and some plants. Most of them are weeds, so that was okay, and the plants that I have dug up, they'd seeded and they were in the wrong place, so that was okay. If you're going to have a go at this, make sure that you get permission to do the digging up and you're not digging up the wrong plants. And then the last thing I'm going to put on is the cross that Jesus died on. But he didn't die alone. There were two other robbers who were crucified with him, who died with him. So there are the three crosses. And then right in the front, in front of the tomb, in front of the cave where Jesus was buried, is the stone. I put the stone there. I'm going to put this on my front doorstep for Good Friday. See if you can make one. Another thing that we do is usually a flower arrangement to take home. Now, I didn't have any oasis or a bowl, so I've just made a flower arrangement in a vase, and that's fine. You could do that. And another thing we do is our egg. We often decorate an egg, don't we? I've got some glittery things that I've stuck on and some hair made out of blue wool and a couple of feathers. If you haven't got all those things, it doesn't matter. You could just use felt tip pen. What I would say is don't be wasteful. If you're using a hard-boiled egg, perhaps you could have an egg sandwich for tea on Easter Sunday. I haven't hard-boiled my egg. It's come straight out of the box, so I can put it back in again. Now, why do we do all these things? We do all these things to tell you about the day that Jesus died. We call it Good Friday. Why did Jesus have to die? God is perfect. Hands up, anyone who's been naughty. The Bible calls it sin. We've all sinned. We've all been naughty. And we will continue to sin and continue to be naughty. But because God is perfect, he can't be friends with us if we're not perfect. God has a plan. He sent Jesus into the world. Now, Jesus was perfect too. But God planned that Jesus would die for our sins, so that if we say sorry and that we love him, we can be his friends again. So because Jesus died on the cross to take all our naughty bits and things away, we can be friends with God. Now, how did it all happen? Jesus was having supper with his friends, his 12 disciples. But he knew that one of them was going to betray him. Judas. So after the meal, he said to Judas, "Go, do it now, quickly." And they took the rest of the disciples to a garden to pray. And he prayed to God, "Oh, Father, do I have to do this? Please just take it away from me. Because he knew it was going to hurt. But then he prayed, your will be done. Because he trusted God, he trusted his Father. And then along came Judas with some soldiers. It was dark, so Judas kissed Jesus so that the soldiers would know who to arrest. They took Jesus to Pilate. He was like the king. He didn't know what to do with Jesus. But he said to him, you say you are the king of the Jews? Jesus said, yes. And all the people around cried out, crucify him, crucify him. They were scared. They didn't know, they didn't understand him. Pilate said, he's done nothing wrong. But that made them cry out all the louder, crucify him, crucify him. So Jesus was given to the soldiers. The soldiers put a cross on Jesus' back and made him carry it up the hill, a hill called Golgotha, which means skull. When he got to the top of the hill, they nailed Jesus to the cross by his hands and his feet. And then they raised the cross up. And there with him were the two robbers. And he died. Jesus died. And as he died, the earth turned dark and black. And there was a huge earthquake. And the soldiers pierced Jesus' side with a sword just to make sure he was dead. Then they took his body down. And his friends put his body in a tomb in the cave. But the soldiers wanted to keep guard on the cave because they'd heard that Jesus had said he was going to rise again. And they didn't want someone to steal the body and then people to say that Jesus had risen. So they kept a guard on the tomb because they didn't want him to be out. They wanted him to stay there, inside the tomb, dead. Do you remember when we have Good Friday workshop, we always have a hot cross bun, don't we? Why do we have a hot cross bun? We look at the cross on the top to remind us of the cross that Jesus died on. We can smell the spices. Can you close your eyes and smell those spices? That's to remind us of the spices that they put on Jesus' body when they buried him. And then we always have a white piece of kitchen towel. Now, I didn't have a white piece, I'm afraid. And we wrap the hot cross bun in the towel. That's to remind us that Jesus was wrapped in grave clothes before he was put in the tomb. That's not the end of the story, is it? Now tomorrow I'm going to do a virtual messy church as well as I can. And there you'll hear the end of the story. So come back. God bless.